names. I wish I never met you, Kravinoffs.
Kraven the Hunter is a new Spider-Man villain movie that ends the Sony spin-off universe in the only way it was ever going to end, with Sony deciding to stop making these movies now because they're tired of losing money and being laughed at. In it, the son of a gang boss gets attacked by a lion and is then given a magical potion that turns him into Kraven, an animalistic man that loves animals? And when his brother gets kidnapped by a rival gang boss who turns into a goofy CGI rhino, he must use his various animal abilities to hunt him down, because as his catchphrase goes, he's Kraven for a hunt.
It's Kraven time.
And to be fair, this movie had way more potential than its predecessors. Both the actor and the director are very talented, and some of the physical power stuff they do here is pretty cool. For me, this movie was actually a positive theater experience. Unfortunately, that was mostly because I was alone in the theater. Literally, I was the only person there. And so in reality, the movie became an even bigger flop than its predecessors. It got horrible reviews and lost like $100 Kravillion. Once again, really the only impact this movie made was becoming another internet laughingstock. Oh, Kraven's running from theaters to streaming at a record pace. Oh, Kraven meets expectations just perfectly. Oh, Kraven shows that maybe Black Adam wasn't so bad after all. Oh, here's Rhino from Kraven. No joke required. And although there's probably many reasons behind this movie's failure, the main one is due to a classic movie mantra. No amount of good filmmaking can survive bad writing. And it is the writing here that's very bad, which is not too surprising seeing as Sony once again hired the same writers from Morbius and Madame Web.
That is crazy.
And once again, the writers make some very fundamental mistakes that prevented Kraven from ever working. The powerful characters don't work because they have no weakness to balance their power. The plot doesn't work because there's no tangible end goal for it to move toward. And a lot of stuff overall is just dumb as hell because, well, stick around and you'll see. Today, let's go through Kraven the Hunter and its most fundamental writing mistakes so that we can learn to avoid them. And if you like videos like this and want more, please leave a like because it really helps out. Now, enjoy the hunt. The character problem here is that characters have no weaknesses to balance their powers, which leaves all the excitement kinda meaningless to watch. As I mentioned, Kraven, for example, has many great and cool abilities, which are on show right away when he goes to a gulag to hunt down a crime boss. The strength of a lion, the speed of a cheetah, the wrath of a tiger, the hands of a monkey, the bones of an elephant, the body shape of Filmento, the eye of an eagle that allows him to see lit smokes from far away.
Yeah, I'm aware that a lot of smoke go like...
There really isn't much development in terms of what animal powers Kraven has exactly, but the main point is that he's animalistically physical. And all joking aside, at times that can be very cool to see. The issue, however, is that there are no evident weaknesses to give meaning to any of this. When Kraven fights someone, I don't know if he can get hurt from fighting, so I don't really care. When Kraven is shot at by someone, I don't know if bullets can even pierce his skin, so I don't really care. When Kraven falls off a cliff and gets smashed by a building, I don't know if that's actually bad for him or no, so I don't really care. This stuff can be fun to look at, but that's all. There's no sense of stakes or emotion involved because there are no known weak points from which they could be born.
But Kraven is nature's perfect predator. He has no known weaknesses.
I mean, it gets to a point where the movie has to invent stuff out of thin air to even have a functional third act, with the Rhino's assassin pulling out this whatever CIA poison.
I find this formula that was developed by MI6 to be particularly effective. It first brings on your darkest nightmares, then paralysis.
And once again, even that doesn't really mean anything or even make sense. Once Kraven gets hit with the poison, he begins to freak out and have nightmares about spiders. Which is weird, because neither spiders nor nightmares have ever been established to be a kryptonite weakness holding Kraven back. It's just cool noise and that's it. Like, couldn't the assassin have shot Kraven with a gun instead of a dart to begin with? Well, I don't know, because I've never seen bullets hit or hurt him, and I don't care. For more context, it's the same issue with everyone with powers. The assassin has this super OP ability where he can basically make people lag and play around with them as if he can control ping in real life.
Oh, why am I lagging?
And what is the way he's ultimately defeated? Kraven's girlfriend walks up to him and shoots him in the head. Yippee. The Rhino has the ability to become indestructible by taking his Rhino form. And is there any kind of special, deliberate way to fight him in that form? No, of course not. Kraven just stabs him all around the body, which should not be possible, and then stabs him in the medicine hall, and then throws him to be trampled by Buffalo. Yippee.
Are you serious right now, bro?
The point is that power only works when it's balanced with a weakness that creates a sense of stakes and emotion and purposefulness. You remember Jafar because he's a power-hungry guy whose ultimate weakness turns out to be his hunger for power. As Aladdin coaxes him to become an all-powerful genie and then locks him in a lamp. His end, his weak point, it's poetic and meaningful. That's what this movie needed as well, weaknesses that carry poetic relevance. If Kraven has the power of animals, he should have the weakness of animals as well, whether it means showing that he can be hurt by hunting rifles or something. If the assassin has the power of lag, then he should also have a weakness relating to lag. He shouldn't just be invincible until someone walks up to shoot him dead. If the Rhino has the power of a rhino, then his defeat should come from that. Don't just stab and punch him and then throw him under animals that have no meaningful connection to rhinos. Instead, develop a poetic, power-related weak point that the audience can see and understand, and then exploit it. Because without weakness, power is useless. All you have is cool noise with no meaning or stakes, and nobody really cares. As weird as it sounds, power is good only when it's limited. You don't remember the aliens in Venom 3 because they can do everything, but you do remember the aliens in A Quiet Place because they can only hear. That's realistic. In real life, everything has a good and bad side. Everything, like even music. You know, it's nice to go outside listening to music, but what's not is that now you don't hear the world around you. So... oh, actually, I'm wrong there. My earbuds do have an awareness mode that allows me to hear if I want.
We're being hunted.
Those earbuds might actually be all positive. They have good audio quality at half the price of the big fruit brands. They have an ergonomic design that fits and stays comfortably in your ear without ever falling off. They have water resistance and noise cancellation and even a 30-day money-back happiness guarantee. So yeah, some things can be all good. Like Raycons, the Bluetooth earbuds for those who don't want to pay extra for a fruit. I got them in 2021 for a video and have used them on my runs ever since, and I'm not the only one.
Fucking bad. This shit, man.
Right now, Raycon is sponsoring a 20% discount with my link below along with free shipping, so do check them out. But aside from them, yeah, all good should have some bad. The plot problem here is that the plot has no tangible finish line to move toward, which makes the movie feel boring as if it's running in place. To be fair, Kraven himself does have an unfulfilled goal to chase, a very clear one, in fact. Basically, he grew up hating his crime boss dad and now wants to hunt down all others like him. He goes to a gulag in the beginning to kill one crime boss and then comes home to find and fight some poachers who he follows to another crime boss who he also kills. I mean, he's got a whole list of criminals that he plans to go after with his lawyer friend, a list that he even keeps adding to.
Found this.
So there's endless story potential.
The men in that book, they're the ones you want. They're the ones in charge.
I will be adding these names to my list. Oh, found you.
The issue is that Kraven's goal has no tangible endpoint. Yeah, he's running around the world killing criminals, while in between we see flashbacks with his brother, but there's no specific finish line for it in sight. As far as we know, there's always another criminal to discover and hunt. It's like we're grinding those infinitely generated side quests in Skyrim. Yes, stuff is happening, but it doesn't have a specific end. It just goes on, like a bike race on an exercise bike.
It doesn't just work.
For context, John Wick was going around shooting random criminals, yes, but there was always an end that he approached by doing that, killing the guy who killed his dog. Whereas here, we just kinda do different criminal hunting side quests and see character flashbacks for over an hour, until finally a tangible finish line appears. In a nutshell, the Rhino hears that Kraven has a list of criminals to hunt and that maybe he's probably on that list.
There's a good chance you're on it.
And so probably, maybe Kraven would at some point come to hunt him too.
Once you're on it, you never come off.
And so then he takes Kraven's brother as bait and now we need to go save him. Even if that wasn't already dumb on its own, the modern audience just isn't able to wait an hour for it. Movies need to be moving right away. It's not nearly as bad as Madame Web, where people were literally sitting around without objectives, but it's not very good either. Even when we go after the brother, we're still heading into traps, which again don't really get us closer to the brother. It's not until the third act where it finally feels like we're getting somewhere, which just isn't enough. And as an example, imagine the same story but rearranged so that the finish line is in sight and approachable right away. Instead of opening with Kraven going after random crime bosses and visiting his brother on his birthday, after which the brother is taken, open the movie with the brother's taking. Like Kraven's living in exile, doing his poacher criminal hunting thing, until his dad finds him as a result of that and tells him that his brother has been kidnapped by a rival gang. Now, the whole story would be about Kraven working his way up this rivaling crime gang's hierarchy until he gets to the guy at the top who has his brother. We wouldn't have to first go after irrelevant crime bosses before the real crime boss stuff begins. We wouldn't have to see Kraven visit his brother on his birthday before the kidnapping. Because I mean, the bulk of the relationship is developed in the flashbacks anyway, and because it would actually increase Kraven's guilt if he hadn't seen his brother for years and thus felt like he abandoned him. But we would still have the same story, like the ending twist where the dad turns out to be responsible because he wanted Kraven to destroy the rival gang.
Because I know you would not let anything happen to our precious Dimitri.
Everything would work exactly the same, except now there's always an end to progress toward. It's a tiny change, but it makes a massive difference in how the story moves. The point is that heroes need an unfulfilled objective to chase, and that the objective is tangible enough to be chased from the start. It's the sense of getting closer to the finish line that creates motion, whereas if the finish isn't tangible and if the steps taken toward it don't visibly get the hero closer to it, then the movie isn't really moving, it's running in place. And a movie like that most likely will not be fast enough to succeed. Another big problem here is that a lot of ideas and elements that this movie uses don't get enough development, which leaves them and the movie pretty dumb. If you look at the source of Kraven's powers, for example, it's pretty out there. Basically, in the flashbacks, there's this girl called Calypso, whose grandma is a voodoo witch who gives her a magical potion as well as future predicting cards that say she'll need it soon. And then she runs into young Kraven, who has been attacked by a mythical lion, and gives him the potion to save his life and give him powers. And none of what I just mentioned is ever properly established or developed. It is said that Calypso is from a line of powerful people.
You do come from a long line of very powerful women.
But we never delve into what that line is or even who her grandma is. It is said that the potion is magical.
It will heal whoever drinks it in undreamed of ways.
But we never delve into where it came from, or if there's more of it, or if it's ever been used before. The movie just introduces all these characters and things and then forgets about them. I mean, Calypso is supposed to be a central character, yet she's barely in the movie. The result of which is that Kraven's powers and interactions with her can feel pretty stupid. Like, she's a lawyer in London who everyone calls Calypso. Imagine holding a straight face while acting this.
Calypso, I think this belongs to you.
Those were my grandmother's cards. I actually still carry the deck with me.
And it's the same thing with all the supernatural abilities. The assassin has the ability to control ping in real life, but it's never explained how that works. It's just said that he had some mentor who taught him everything, whatever.
He taught me everything I know.
The rhino has a disease of being a human rhino, and it's the most needlessly convoluted shit I've heard. First, the rhino was born with fragile bones or something, even though it's not really seen. And so then secondly, he found some scientist somewhere who could make him strong. But then thirdly, the operation turned him into a rhino, and now he needs medicine to reverse it. Or at least, that's what's said.
In and out of hospitals, they never quite know what was wrong. They'd never have your father's respect. Until I was strong, I found someone, a Professor Miles Warren. The procedure to increase strength. It was too much. Medications to manage my condition.
In other words, Rhino is a normal guy who wants to get strong, who becomes a rhino after some unknown scientist somehow made him strong, and who then needs medicine to be a normal guy. And it's like, could you not come up with anything less complicated? The point I'm getting at is that when you have supernatural elements or any elements that are gonna be part of a cinematic universe, you wanna make it as straightforward as possible, because that's what allows you to have enough time to develop it all properly. If you're not gonna develop Calypso as a character or do anything with the potion or the family of witches, cut them out entirely, and instead maybe make Kraven get his powers directly from the mythical lion. You know, he gets attacked by the lion and then it's shot and he suffocates on its blood or something. I don't know. But don't waste time on redundant filler. Because honestly, this movie is the definition of a prodigal son. It keeps tossing in all these ideas and elements from its source material,
Professor Miles Warren,
without ever doing anything with them to earn them. Kraven's dad is apparently a powerful crime boss, yet he never does anything that would indicate him being a crime boss. All he does is go hunting and be a douchebag to his sons and one time throw a knife at a gunman. Kraven's brother apparently has the ability to mimic anyone's voice, yet he never does anything with it. He never uses it to impact the story or create any kind of consequences. All he does is sing with the voice of famous singers and mock people.
Can't have you dying on me, can I? Can't have you dying on me, can I?
It's not even clear how he's able to do that. The ability just appears.
Father is the only animal that is dreaded.
You're getting too good at that.
But whatever, he can do it, and then at the end he's gone to that same random doctor and now he can turn into anyone because he'll be in the next movie. Except now there won't be a next movie because the element was so underutilized in this one. As a whole, the lesson is to value time, to cut and streamline wherever you can. If you're not gonna develop something properly, don't include it at all, because at best it's gonna be confusing or dumb, and at worst, a literal waste of time. And no matter how good a time-wasting movie may be in other areas, it will not be worth the audience's time.